It's camp once again on a cloudy but nice enough day. We've recovered from yesterday's debacle and we have some excellent news. We have an exclusive interview with the guy sat to my right. It's Will, who took direct action at Danes Hill. So we're going to find out his story and how he came to become an anti-fracker and a protector for the land. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Nice to meet you. Yeah,
Hello.
definitely. So what's your background? What got you into the into looking into the fracking process and that sort of thing?
I guess you have to go back to the start. I've grown up around a lot of nature in Scotland, and the environment's always been my passion. I've studied that at school. Worked in a lot of jobs with the Forestry Commission, with surveying, with conservation, and I was always interested in renewable energy too. So I guess it started with realizing that there are opportunities with renewable energy to have a better future. I'm kind of expecting that was the process I was going to see through my life, a shift from oil-based economy to having renewable energy, and then to suddenly find out that this fracking thing was coming. It already caused so much damage in America. Watching other countries slowly ban it because they could see that it was bad. To find out it was actually coming to the UK, kind of just galvanised me and say, no, this has to stop. So I looked into more detail about all the different CBM, the fracking, the coal seam gasification, and just realised that it had to be stopped as soon as possible.
So once you'd realised that fracking was bad, which I'm sure didn't take you long, what were your first actions? What were you thinking at the time?
Well, it kind of showed up in my backyard in Scotland. Everyone really loves the countryside up there. It's part of their heritage. And so one day I was driving past Stirling and I saw one of these rigs, and that scared me. I found out it was the company Dart Energy. I realised they'd actually been doing exploratory wells for quite some time, and people, even the fracking group, said it's not really a problem because it's CBM, it's not fracking. And everyone seemed to have this idea that CBM is fine, it's not as bad. But when you look into the effects of all the infrastructure, the roads, the sheer amount of water that they use, the noise that comes out, and the fact that if they do this commercially, it's going to just devastate so many, agriculture, wildlife, people's security, their homes, and it just couldn't happen. But then I heard about Barton Moss and the amazing things that were happening down there. There were groups of people that were living in really squalid conditions and standing up every day and fighting because they were convinced that this was wrong. And that inspired me straight away to go, right, no, what can we do to help? So I thought, yeah, let's take the fight to the front line. I was staying at Peace Camp at the time, and I had a really good set of friends there, really beautiful girlfriend. But heard one day that the Barton Moss was getting evicted. So we jumped in the car, me and a friend, packed all the stuff, came down, and arrived there to find everyone really disheartened, thinking they were going to get evicted by the bailiffs. And of course a lot of these girls and these guys had been putting up with so much aggression and abuse from the police, and they were worn out and they were tired. I'd already had a group of friends come down to try and help out with direct action, bring some of their skills from Peace Camp, tree houses, building, that kind of thing. And I thought maybe I could do something to help too. So I met a lot of the people. They really opened up and took us under their wing. And I realised there was just some ideas I had which I could do. So the next morning, even though these people were all downhearted, they jumped up and they did a lock-up, and they got on the road and they stopped the trucks. And suddenly there was new hope. And so I waited until the police weren't looking, climbed up into a tree and sat down and waited for them to come. Managed to talk to the police liaison officer, and he kind of quickly realised that there wasn't much they could do from down there. And I had a chance just to explain that what they're doing is obviously wrong, and the fact that they're cutting down trees. There's thousands of people that were so angry about that. So could you stop doing that, or at least make the company stop doing that? And I agreed to come down if they were threatening to get a chainsaw out. And I said, if you promise to leave the trees alone, I will come down of my own accord. And that's what happened, and then I walked away.
Excellent. So then on to Danes Hill.
Yes.
So what made you move from Barton Moss to Danes Hill?
Well, that afternoon, after all what I've just talked about happened, there was a bit of a celebration, and a few people were talking about another site in Nottingham, and there was a possible chance for setting up a camp in the woodland, in the forests in Nottingham. And I had all my equipment with me, I had bows and arrows. I'd learned all these skills about living in a forest from being in Bilston Glen at the protest site. It's been 10 years trying to stop road development. And I realised I was in a position with the tools and the people to go along and set up. So I jumped down there with quite a few other people. We got the camp set up. Some people from Barton Moss that had come over were worn out and tired, couldn't believe how beautiful it was and a place for it to be.
A nice place for them to relax.
They could still protest and achieve things, but also feel a bit more secure. This is something I did struggle with during the Danes Hill. I was really intent on keeping everyone safe. I mean, living in a woodland has a lot of hazards, and some people just don't notice, don't realize. And again, the girls want you to feel safe from being harassed. So we set up, and the drill and the generators and things were coming in. The locals were coming, expressing their concerns, being so scared. Some of them were so angry about all their life's work, all their achievements they put into, say, their house. And suddenly they were right next door to this CBM site, and that had so many potential disastrous consequences for them. The house prices and so on. And they were mad, and they were scared. But we came and said, no, we can try and do something about this.
Yeah, it seems to be a feeling up and down the country wherever these fracking sites pop up that people get angry and scared. So let's talk about the direct action that came.
The first one?
There was two.
Oh, yes, the first, when the generator and the drills turned up, we put a call out to Barton Moss saying they need some help. And they did. They came that very night. It was like the cavalry arrived. The next morning, we hit the gate. We locked on top of it, we jumped on top of the generators. And we spent the whole day just introduced to all the engineers, having discussions and debates with them about renewable energy, why they're doing the jobs, what options can they walk out of their jobs or not. It was just a very interesting day, but we kept it peaceful and very civil.
Yeah, that's the important thing, isn't it?
No, it was brilliant though. I think I told you this yesterday, but Barton Moss were still doing the chants, and they were still just showing that they were strong and confident, and they were not
to be cowed.
Yes, and that was enough for almost everyone to go, right, we better listen to what these guys say and just keep it nice for them, because we don't want that coming to our village. And so that was a big success. Then we had a Robin Hood Day and got all the local people were all dressed up as Maid Mary and Robin Hood, talking about the concept of direct action is technically illegal. It's supposed to be breaking the law if you're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of ethos that went with Robin Hood. He saw that people were being hurt, that the land was being damaged, and he stood up and he fought for it.
Yeah, we have a quote posted on his kitchen. Unlawful protest is not removal from democracy. It is in fact essential to it, which I think is a really good way of putting that. So then on to the big direct action, the one that got you famous in the protector community.
I'll work up to it. There's a few little things I could put in between. We didn't manage to stop the drill getting in, still got in the end, but we still had a sense of achievement. And then the next stage was to try and stop them from drilling. And they were drilling into an old ammunition factory. There was explosives under the ground, and kids had grown up in that area being told not to play them. So again, when local people found out they were going to stick a diamond drill down there, they panicked. Trying to find out from the company what they were doing. There was just no one there to talk. They didn't want any information getting out. There was one woman pulled up outside the gate at one point, almost in tears, panicking, saying, "Have they started drilling? Because I want to get my kids out of here." There was another woman who had dreams of a firewall coming across the country, and everyone was just nervous. But once we realised that they were drilling and we hadn't stopped it, everyone kind of got downhearted and said, "What do we do next?" I said, "Sort this. Let's capture the flag." And that idea kind of spread to everyone. We realized we had all the people we need, we had everything in place. It was almost like destiny. So we started planning.
So what was the basics of that idea?
We had to find a way to cause a distraction, because we didn't want, we'd become on good terms with the security guards and aware of their moral fight between protecting a company they know is bad and still having to have a mortgage. So we didn't want them getting hurt. We didn't want anyone going in facing up to dogs. having that situation that could have got nasty. So we had to find a way of stopping the company without anyone getting hurt and the minimum amount of people getting arrested. So we hatched the plan to find a distraction, and then I would sneak in, have a team that would help me to get in, get on the rig, and then shut it down, and try and get the thing, thinking if you get up on top of that, the media will come in, and you can get the message out there to everyone.
Yeah.
So, to cap it all off, we suddenly found out there was a blood moon coming, and it was a once in 400 year event, and it signified change and hope. Just again, it just was perfect. So, right, we'll plan a party, and then we can get all the little bits set up without anyone really knowing what's going on. We'll have drums. And that was what clinched it. Have a distraction. We start off with a party where people are just drumming, and then we take it to the fence and we drum on the fence, and we get louder. And we turn people getting more leery, and then take it down the fence right up to the top. And that's what happened that night. We had a team, Daneshill 9, went off in one direction. We had drummers at the gate causing confusion. Everyone was a bit nervous what was going on, but obviously the police couldn't imagine what was really going to happen. So the distraction team worked their way down one side, and we sneaked off up the other side and waited for the right moment. And by the time we got there, the security guards and the dogs were so freaked out by all the drumming and the noise, they didn't know what to do. And they were back and forward, and we just waited for a moment when the coast was clear. At one point, a security guard actually saw us outside, but he was so nervous and confused, he just went, "Oh guys, you alright?" And then left. He went away.
Well, let's thank that security guard. Thank you, security guard.
And at that point, it was like, "Oh, the whole thing's over. We can't do it. We've seen, we know we're here." And then suddenly over the radio came, "We've got a clear space, we've got a window. If you're going to do it, go now." So that's it. I just dropped all the food and supplies that I had, just took the essentials. I just ran at the fence and I jumped, climbed up, head first over, landed on my feet, looked up expecting to find a security dog there. Nothing. It was clear. I couldn't believe it. So found my way down the inside fence, sneaked along, just jumped over the second one again, found myself facing big blaring lights, knowing that there's 6 engineers in there somewhere. If they catch me, then they're going to grab me. So that was always the biggest fear I had, the biggest uncontrolled factor of it all. But I sneaked in, I got tangled up on the pipes because I had my bow and arrow with me. Managed to get untangled, got to the inside, and there was no one there. I didn't see any engineer. I had 3 or 4 different options of which way to go, so I sneaked around the first corner, no one there. Second corner, no one there. And then suddenly I saw the walkway leading up to the tower itself. It was about 26 meters high, and I could see it all. The lights were all glaring and so on. And I could hear voices around the corner. I could hear the engineers, and I thought, if I run for it, they're going to catch me. So if I just act normal, I just walk, it won't maybe attract attention. And I did. I walked all the way up, and just when I got to the bottom of the ladder, they saw me. Like, "Oh, what are you doing?" They came running up. So I hiked up at 9 feet, and then turned around and told them, or just sort of shouted at them, "Don't worry, no one's going to get hurt. Follow your safety protocols." And they were like, "No, what are you doing? What are you doing?" They couldn't imagine what we were up to. They shut the drill down. I scaled to the top and locked myself on.
And how long were you up there?
I think it was 8 hours.
8
8.5 hours.
8.5 hours sat on a tower. That must have
Been an experience.
yeah, must have been an experience, and probably not a pleasant one.
Talk about sense of achievement, and not just for myself, but the feeling that everyone had their part to play. Everyone had, there was hope enough for everyone to have something to feel valuable about.
It was a success for everyone.
Yes, it wouldn't have worked if everyone didn't. No one gave up, and in the end, we had little stories of all the others. The way the drumming thing had happened. Apparently that was epic on its own. You had a team that were halfway down the road who managed to push a bar through the middle of the fence, so that when the police arrived, they couldn't get through. Alright, so got on top of it. I had all my ropes and equipment, so I was intending on talking to one of the security guards to pass me up any food or blankets on me for the day. But he got taken away by the security, and then they tried to pretend they were bringing up food on a cherry picker. So I just packed all my stuff, climbed up higher, sat on the top. There's a bamboozler video, I think, of me out there. I managed to get that out. But at that point, I wasn't really high up. So yes, we did it. We shut them down.
So there's something to look for online. If you've not seen it already, look for the bamboozle video of Will at the top of the tower. Now the police, how did they treat you? Was it? It wasn't about a Moss incident, was it?
No, it wasn't. Well, one, when you're up that high, there's nothing they can do. You take the power away from them, to force them in that awkward situation. They cannot endanger your life by trying to climb up there. They could have eventually sent an expert to come and get me, but yeah, I knew I had at least a day. If I wanted, I was planning on staying 2 or 3 days, but I'd left all my food, and then of course the security guard couldn't get food to me, so. The police started with 3 or 4, and then the riot vans turned up. And I shouted down to them and said, "What are you doing with all these people? Like, there's nothing that you can all achieve. That, get Jason, get the man that knows me now, and hopefully trusts me. We'll deal with that. But you don't need all these guys in riot vans. What do you think we're going to do? Start throwing bows, shooting and throwing bows and arrows?" So they tried to calm me down a few times, read me my rights, but the people on the outside, all the team on the outside, were banging and cheering, so that I couldn't actually hear what they were saying. But eventually someone managed to get the message up, "Are you coming down?" I said, "No, sorry, I'm staying here." And then the PLOs turned up. They were on the outside. They weren't even allowed in because the police were so scared that they knew that we were all doing this for the best intentions, for the right reason. So they wouldn't let them in at all. So yeah, I was pretty much safe. I was in a bubble with security. That motivation you get from doing direct actions. I learned this at Peace Camp again, where people actually stand up, learn how to do a skill, stand up to the man, go through the whole process and realise that if you play things the right way and play it smart, you're going to be safe. It's going to be okay.
And just forgot my question. Wait on, I'll have it in a second. I'll think of another one then. So while you were up there, and the police were obviously shouting up and things like that, did that draw in support from like the media? Did you get good coverage to sort of like highlight the issues?
I got there about 4:30 in the morning, and I finally locked on the top and got dressed up in the Robin Hood gear and then dropped the banner down. So we knew it would be a while before they turned up, but we had people calling. I called my girlfriend first at the time, just to say I did it. Hope you're proud of me. And then I called the police guy and said, "Sorry, it's your day off, but hoped you could have been here just to rub his face." And then I ended up talking to Radio Sheffield. I think that went out on the radio, I'm not sure, but eventually the BBC turned up. And because we had radios, I was able to do an interview down to them. But it was a bit we thought it would go national, it would be national news, but for some reason, a lot of people believe that the government are doing their best to keep the truth out of there. For some reason, it only made local news, Retford Times and Look North, which again is still very local. Now, we had people who were hoping if I stayed up for a few days that would build up and build up and build up, and I missed that. And by the end of the day, I thought we've got the BBC in, that's the job done, it's time to start winding down and coming down. But yeah, no, we're definitely disappointed with the fact that the media attention was
Yes, the media
suppressed.
does seem to be controlled a little, doesn't it?
And this is one of the wars that we're fighting here at West Newton now, and again, there's so many important things that need to be told. There's so much information. There's people monitoring and gathering information, already showing that things that they do are, they make mistakes, and the mess and the noise, but trying to get it out there is so difficult. I guess that's why I don't like doing interviews. Yeah. I want people to come down here and see good stuff going on.
And after you'd come down, and obviously the police will have took you into custody and they'll have given you all their palaver, what actually happened at the main Hill site after?
That night?
Well, just that night and then following on.
I think that night there was a big party. I was released late in the evening with congratulations from all the Nottingham police, can you believe it? And got back the next morning, just sort of a celebration, and all the locals that, at the time, a lot of locals had been divided. I think it was just going to cause a mess and cause trouble in the woods. They all came out of the woodwork, all the ones that weren't sure. There'd all been all these fights between different sections of locals, wondering whether we were doing the right thing or not. And once the media got out and they realised that we were actually, we did know what we were talking about, we did have good intentions, they came out of the woodwork, and everyone just got congratulated for the day. So, yeah, bit of a feel-good feeling. I was dying to get back to see my friends and my family, and I'd promised that I'd be back there. And I was trying to keep my promise. But so even though there was still more to do after that, they still continued drilling afterwards. I really wanted to stay, but I made some promises and I had to go. It felt hard to walk away because there were still very few people that were actually on the site, and they were still trying to deal with the continued job, walking trucks and raising awareness. So we left just as the drill was starting to wind down, and they were trying to get the stuff out, and we didn't want them taking that to do that to other people's communities as well. So people stayed. They upped the policing, of course, after what we'd done. So suddenly you've got 5 girls sitting on the ground with 40 odd policemen sitting around. Yeah, those guys were heroes then. Yeah, that's it. What happened at Danes Hill mostly just gets talked about what I did. You should have seen the other people, some of the other things that went on, the ideas that were generated, the girls that just refused to give up and walk on. I've seen girls scale onto a truck in bare feet, pajamas, half awake, shouting, "Truck, truck, truck." I saw a little 7-year-old girl doing handstands outside the gate with a big truck right in front of her face, and she was not afraid. We had people talking truck drivers into understanding that what they're doing for this company and how bad it is right. And we had truck drivers turn away. We had truck drivers blocking their own trucks for 2 hours. Because once you got the message out to people, this is one of the worst environmental issues to come through our door, then anyone who can afford to have that moral decision and not be stuck in the corporate world, I need a mortgage, I need money, will switch. That's what we need more of.
I think to finish the interview, you took a poem up to the top. Can you remember the poem? Could you recite it for us?
Okay. I remember once in school being told that the age of oil would die, and now they say it's gas instead and not the fireball in the sky. I know we all don't think it's wise to leave the world polluted, but how much of Earth will have to die before we end the age of stupidity?
Yeah, excellent.
Awesome.
Thank you very much for your time. I know you've still got a court case pending from this, which we can't really ask you about.
Not about it, but it looks like it's going to be on the 10th and 11th of August. I will say that I'm not afraid either way, which way it will go. I might end up with a really big fine. But if we can just get land experts into the site to get contamination, it's almost guaranteed. Just like at Barton Moss, they found contamination. Yeah. It's almost guaranteed. The way they were moving all the extracted mud and slurry, they were sloshing it around. It was all around the compound, and then all into the fields next door. And then they were shipping it out. And then the gravel, it looks like they were selling gravel to local quarries who were then shipping it out into other places. So if we can get that evidence, the Environment Agency weren't doing their job, we were doing our job. We've got, just trying to get that evidence together, we can say, no, they were unlawful, they were not doing their job right. In which case I'll be let off.
Awesome.
So, if anyone wants to come and represent on the day, it'd be nice to have quite some fun.
Yeah, well, we'll see how many folk we can get down there. And good luck with that, and thank you very much for your interview. You've been an inspiration to a lot of people around here, I know that. Now on to a bit that's going to stick in me throat a little. We do owe the police an apology. Yesterday we came out with a report that they had stolen a lot of stuff, and that's still as it stands. The stuff that they took, they did take. But this is a little message to Rathlin as well as an apology to the police. We did find the dossier of evidence, so very sorry to the police for accusing you of taking that. And Rathlin, we've still got it. So, start getting worried again. And we're only gathering more, and eventually it will come out. That's us signing off from West Newton for now. I hope you all enjoy your day, and I hope that we stop fracking.